Morning light filters through the half-drawn blinds, painting slats of gold across the sleek kitchen countertop. Elise stands at the espresso machine, heart fluttering with sleepy contentment. Today is presentation day, the culmination of 2 years of late nights in the law library. She breathes in the rich aroma as Dean, her fiancé, sets out 2 mugs on the marble island. "Here you go, love," he says, his voice warm with that familiar affection that first drew her in. He slides the steaming cup toward her. Strong enough to conquer the courtroom. Elise lifts the mug and takes a deliberate sip, and her brow furrows. The flavor is off. Metallic, like iron, and undrinkably bitter, the kind of bitterness you'd expect from burnt grounds or a rusty pipe, not from Dean's carefully selected single-origin roast. "Dean?" she asks, her voice barely above a whisper. He glances up from his phone, brows knitting with concern. "You okay?" he replies, setting down his own mug. "Not too bitter for you?" "It's strange," she says, swirling the liquid. Instead of the honeyed sweetness she loves, there is an acrid tang that makes her stomach lurch. Instinctively, she raises the mug again for another taste, but then hesitates. She sets it down, careful not to spill a drop, and reaches for her own identical travel mug of water. Dean watches her over the rim of his cup. Concern blooms in his dark eyes. "Here, try this. Maybe your mud got stuck in the sink cycle." Elise forces a reassuring smile and leans closer to peer inside the porcelain rim. By reflex, she dumps the rest down the sink, listening to the splash echo in the empty basin. Her pulse hammers. Something isn't right. That bitterness wasn't random. She locks eyes with Dean, so steady, so loving. He catches her gaze and gives a small nod. "Don't worry, I've got the day off. We can take it easy if you need to." Elise nods, but her mind races. She walks to the trash can, lifts the lid, and sniffs the coffee filter. There is definitely something chemical in the air, an acrid, medicinal scent she can't quite place. Her fingertips go numb. A cold shiver traces her spine. Dean sighs. "You sure you're all right?" Her chest tightens. "Yeah, just sleepy." She throws the filter away and turns back. Dean reaches to cradle her hand, but she pulls away, too much adrenaline to let comfort in. "Okay, let's head to the clinic after your presentation," he says gently. Elise forces a laugh, though her mouth tastes of metallic dread. "You're right." She grabs her laptop bag and stalks out of the kitchen, determined to catch her own reflection in the mirror before heading out. As the door clicks shut behind her, Dean exhales, a shadow flickering across his expression, almost relief. Right arrow Elise's reflection in the hallway mirror is hollow-eyed. Beneath her tailored blazer, her chest feels like it's caving in. What poison might have been in that cup? The conference room buzzes with murmurs as Elise sets up her laptop at the head of the table. Her colleagues file in, settling into plush leather chairs. Dean lingers in the doorway, sliding in beside her with a proud smile. "You're going to crush this," he whispers, brushing a stray curl behind her ear. Elise acknowledges him with a tight smile, but her thoughts are elsewhere. Every time she tries to focus on her bullet points, due process and digital privacy, her mind drifts back to that cup of coffee. How could something so routine have turned lethal? The presentation begins. Elise's voice is clear and confident, punctuated by well-timed anecdotes and legal citations. She catches herself fidgeting, her right hand trembles as she clicks through slides. Whispers ripple around the room. She glances toward Dean. He watches with an expression that reads like guilt laced with pity. Afterwards, coffee and pastries appear in a side lounge. Elise lets her assistant pour her a cup, this time decaffeinated, black. She lifts it, inhales deeply, and sips. It tastes normal, slightly too mild, but perfectly safe. Relief blooms in her chest. Dean joins her, tousling her hair. "You killed it in there." Elise forces a laugh. "Thanks. I needed that." She sets down her cup. "Hey, where's your coffee?" He shrugs. I skipped it today. Figured I'd let you have the first rounds. His grin pulls at the edges, but his eyes drift toward the door, as if eager to escape. Later, at home, Elise stands by the sink, watching Dean prep dinner. He chops vegetables with clinical precision, humming along to soft jazz. She remembers the mug of yesterday, the color, the weight, the scent of something foreign. She moves to the trash bin, retrieving the crumpled filter. At arm's length, she sniffs again. Pure bitterness and that same chemical note. Dean looks over his shoulder. What are you doing? Just checking something, she says tonelessly, tossing the filter back. He nods, eyes narrowing. Don't overthink it. You've been stressed. Elise's pulse spikes. Maybe I am. But I also know my body. She crosses her arms. That coffee yesterday, something was wrong. Dean puts down his knife. It was an accident. I'm sorry, Elise. I was distracted, I grabbed the wrong jar, that's all. His tone is steady, sincere. I'd never poison you. Elise's gaze flicks to his hands, steady, controlled. She wants to believe him. But part of her remembers the glint in his eye when she dumped the mug. Relief? Remorse? Or calculation? She straightens. Okay. We'll go with that. She forces a smile. Let's eat. As they sit to dinner, Dean serves her first. His eyes linger on hers, warm with love, but shadowed by something unnameable. Elise forks a piece of chicken, gaze fixed on the succulent meat, as the smell of rosemary and garlic drifts up. She knows now there can be no accidental bitterness, only intention. Right arrow, that unlabeled bottle Dean grabbed from the pantry, is still unaccounted for. Elise's instincts scream that answers lie hidden in the kitchen. Night falls, and the house settles into silence. Dean is already asleep when Elise creeps into the kitchen under the pale glow of her phone screen. She won't sleep until she finds proof. She flicks on the cabinet light and kneels by the lower shelf. Spice jars line the shelf: paprika, cumin, coriander, mundane. She sweeps her hand along the row until her fingertips brush cold glass. There it is, a small brown bottle with no label, corked tightly. Elise's breath catches. She unscrews the cap and sniffs. The same medicinal tang rises, a mix of almonds, solvent, and something metallic. Diazepam? She's not sure, but it reeks of sedative chemicals. Her heart pounds as she pulls out her phone and snaps a photo. She Googles homemade benzodiazepine smell, her fingers trembling. The search results flash medical journals and forum posts describing exactly this aroma. A text ping jars her: Dean, hey, love, did you lock up the car? Need me to check anything? His message is sweet, affectionate, a stark contrast to the poison at her feet. Elise's chest twists. She pins a sticky note beside the shelf: found at 11:47 p.m., possible benzodiazepine. Then she pockets the bottle and retreats to her bedroom. In the sanctuary of her study, she places the bottle on her desk and dials the toxicologist she consulted for a law school thesis. Dr. Adebayo picks up bleary-eyed. Elise? It's late. I need to know if this can sedate someone, she blurts, holding the phone away from her ear so her roommate won't hear. Just trace amounts, like what would be in coffee. Silence. Then, bring the sample by tomorrow. I'll run a GCMS test. Elise exhales. Thank you, she whispers. She slides the phone under her pillow and stares at the bottle in the dark. Her future, her career, her life, all could be jeopardized by a fiancé who slips poison into her cup. And if the bottle is Dean's, why is her name scrawled on it? Right arrow underneath the cork, etched faintly in marker: Elise, 1 milligram. Why would Dean label a poison bottle with her name and dosage? The following morning, Elise wakes before dawn. Her mind replays the discovery on loop. She stares at the encrypted sticky note on her bedside table bottle, benzodiazepine, 1 milligram. The words burn in her memory. She rises and dresses quietly, heart thudding with a mix of dread and empowerment. Over coffee, her own pre-filled decaf mug from a sealed container, she goes over her journals. For weeks, she's chalked up her sudden fatigue, foggy thinking, and irritability to exam stress. Now she reads the entries through new eyes. April 5th, woke up groggy. Can't focus. April 12th, forgot 2 client calls. April 18th, Dean asked if I was okay again. Each entry is undercut by a blank on certain dates, pages are torn out. Elise scans the empty margins, her blood running cold. It wasn't stress, it was the drip of poison wearing her down. Her phone vibrates. Dean, looking forward to dinner tonight, red heart. She tosses it aside. No pleasantries tonight. At work, she navigates the courthouse halls, insomnia making every echo louder. In chambers, she calls a trusted paralegal, Ada, whose sharp intuition has helped her crack tough cases. Ada, Elise says, voice lower than a whisper. I need your help. It's personal. She explains, stumbling over the details but conveying the terror. I think Dean's been drugging me. Ada's jaw clenches. I've seen you at your best. This isn't you. What proof do you have? Elise describes the bottle. Ada exhales. Meet me tonight. We'll figure it out. Elise smiles, relief blooming like sun on snow. She grabs her bag, pausing at the door. She's changed, no longer a passive victim of fog and fatigue. Now she's determined. That evening, she meets Ada at the courthouse library. Under the green lamps, the 2 women pore over the photos of the bottle, lab reports from Dr. Adebayo's clinic, and her diary excerpts. Ada slides a travel mug across the table. Put this in his car tonight. Let's see what he does. Elise nods, steeling herself. In her heart, the kind fiancé she fell in love with is gone, replaced by a calculating predator. Right arrow. Ada leans in, voice low, and there's something else. Dean's brother Caleb, he's been acting weird around us. Elise lies in bed, adrenaline humming through her veins. She sketches the plan in her mind. Tomorrow at breakfast, she will have 3 mugs, hers, Dean's, and Caleb's. She'll swap the cups so Dean unwittingly drinks his own poison. That way, the evidence will be undeniable. Beside her, her phone buzzes. Caleb, hey Elise, checked on Dean's car, battery's fine. Dinner at Mom's this weekend? His tone is breezy, oblivious to the storm brewing under her roof. She types back, can I see you tomorrow morning? Need advice on a case. If Caleb's involved, she wants him close. Morning arrives. Elise sets 3 identical mugs on the kitchen island. The espresso machine gurgles as Dean enters, tousled hair and eyes still heavy with sleep. Good morning, babe, he says, planting soft kisses on her temple as he reaches for the pod. Elise's jaw tightens. She watches his back as he loads 3 pods, 1 for each of them. Today, Ada is watching from the living room, hidden behind the curtain. Dean lifts the tray of filled mugs. Breakfast is served. He places 1 before Elise, 1 before himself, and another by the empty stool where Caleb will sit. Elise steps aside, feigning a sudden need for water. As Dean turns to fill his travel bottle, she exchanges his mug with the one from the counter, bottle number 2, deliberately left untainted. She then swaps Caleb's with the laced mug. Her hands don't shake. For once, she controls the narrative. Dean returns, planting a kiss on her cheek. Mornings with you are my favorite. She nods, voice cool, mine too. Just then, Caleb bursts in, hair muss from sleep. He picks up the cup she placed for him, lifts it to his lips. Elise's pulse reverberates in her ears. Across the room, Ada's silhouette twitches, ready to record. Dean sips from his, safe, mug with that indulgent smile. To us, he says. Caleb swallows. His face twists. He clutches the edge of the island. Whoa, his knuckles whiten. I feel strange. Dean springs up, concern flashing across his features. But Elise watches his hands, steady, unmoving. No tremor. Only Caleb's cup is shaking now, and Elise feels a fierce satisfaction. Right arrow. Caleb's eyes bore into Elise, panic rising in his voice. She did this. She knows. Dean's gaze slashes to her, calm, deadly, and unafraid. What will Elise do next? Dawn's pale light slips through the curtains as Elise pads into the kitchen. The air is cool, scented faintly with last night's rain on the windowsill. Her heart hammers like a timpani. Today is the day she turns Dean's own poison against him. She pulls out 3 identical mugs, each pristine white with a slender handle, and arranges them on the marble island. Each mug represents a player in her high-stakes game, hers, Dean's, and Caleb's. Across the room, her phone vibrates softly on the counter. A text from Ada. I'm watching. Cameras rolling. Elise exhales. Ada is hidden behind the sheer curtain by the breakfast nook, drone-like eyes focused on every motion. The knowledge steadies her nerves. She's not alone. She loads 3 coffee pods into the espresso machine. Decaf for herself, never trusted Dean's brews again, a clean mug for Dean, and the tainted cup for Caleb. With each pod, her fingers feel the weight of every missed warning sign. Moments later, Dean enters, yawning, brushing a hand through his hair. He's wearing crisp pajamas, the same ones he wore on their first Christmas morning, a memory that twists cruelly now. Good morning, love, he murmurs, planting a soft kiss on her temple. Elise forces a smile, nodding toward the mugs. Coffee's ready. He steps forward, oblivious, as she steps back to fill her own water bottle, careful not to catch his eye for too long. Caleb bursts in with the energy of someone who's slept poorly but is determined to feign normalcy. Hey, sis, he says to Elise, squeezing her shoulder as he approaches the island. You're up early. He glances at the mugs and then at Dean. Thought I'd join this morning. Elise's pulse rattles, perfect timing. She offers him the mug she has secretly laced with Dean's poison. Caleb takes it with a grin, murmuring thanks. Dean picks up the middle mug, her decaf decoy, and raises it. To family, he says, voice warm. He tips the cup in her direction. Elise touches hers to his. The crystal chime of porcelain fills the silence. They sip. Dean's serene expression is almost angelic, until he glances at Caleb's face and back at Elise. What's up with Caleb? He asks casually. Caleb lowers the cup, his smile faltering. A bead of sweat rolls down his temple. I feel odd, he admits, voice rough. His fingers tremble around the mug's handle. Dean's eyes flicker, but his hand remains steady, no tremor, no sign of guilt. Elise's chest contracts. The poisoning has begun to take effect. Ada's phone lights up with a discreet buzz, a silent thumbs-up emoji. Elise's stomach roils with a mix of triumph and dread. She watches Dean's gaze flick between her and Caleb. He swallows hard. Are you okay, little brother? He asks, more a statement than a question. Caleb's breathing grows shallow. He sets the mug down with a clatter and staggers toward a chair. Elise moves to catch Caleb as he sinks into the seat. Caleb, she says, voice trembling. Talk to me. He clutches the edge of the island, white-knuckled. His eyes are unfocused. Through the living room archway, Ada emerges, phone in hand, ready to record. Dean steps between them, blocking the view. His posture is rigid. The kitchen lights hum overhead. Elise's mind races. She has proof, but at what cost? Caleb's distress is real, even if self-inflicted by Dean's own tool. The cafe-like serenity of the morning shatters. Dean's face is unreadable as he grips Caleb's shoulder. Elise meets Dean's gaze, her resolve hardens. Right arrow. Caleb's lips part in a raspy whisper. She knew, his eyes lock on Elise's. Dean's expression turns icy. What will she do when Dean realizes she's one step ahead? Within seconds, the elegant calm of the kitchen fractures into chaos. Caleb's trembling escalates as he staggers and then crumples to the floor. Elise screams, rushing to his side. Dean's casual concern vanishes, he's transformed into a portrait of calculated panic. He crouches, touches Caleb's neck for a pulse, and yanks out his phone. "Elise, call an ambulance," he commands, voice taut. Her heart thunders so loudly she's certain the paramedics will hear it miles away. She fumbles for her phone and dials 911, words tumbling out as she kneels beside her brother. "My brother collapsed, he's unresponsive." She glances up at Dean, his face pale but composed. His eyes flick to Ada's hidden lens, then dart away. "Ma'am, is he breathing?" the dispatcher asks. Elise places her ear near Caleb's mouth. There's a faint, ragged breath. She shouts instructions to the dispatcher, her hands shaking as she holds Caleb's head. Dean moves to clear the kitchen island, tossing aside clean mugs and plates in frantic gestures, as if concealing evidence. Elise catches a glimpse of the tainted mug under a stack of saucers. Minutes stretch into infinity until the wail of sirens nears. Two paramedics burst through the front door, medical bags in hand. They kneel beside Caleb, one checking vitals while the other preps a stretcher. "Who's this?" one paramedic asks, scanning the scene. "He's my brother," Elise says, voice shaky. "We were having breakfast." He drank the coffee, she trails off, tears pricking her eyes. Dean steps forward, placing a firm hand on Caleb's shoulder, puncturing the legality of his brother's collapse is also his responsibility. "I brewed it myself," Dean says evenly. "She didn't." His words hang heavy. Elise's chest tightens. He's spinning the narrative, just as she suspected he would. The paramedics exchange a glance. "Let's move," one paramedic orders. They secure Caleb and load him into the ambulance. Elise insists on riding in the back, Dean follows, climbing into the front passenger seat. Ada slips out the front door behind the ambulance, phone still recording, intent on capturing everything. In the ambulance's cramped confines, the medic inserts in 4-line. Caleb moans, his face contorted. Elise grips his hand. "Stay with me," she whispers. Caleb's eyes flicker open. Elise, he croaks. His voice is weak but coherent. "Hey, brother. You're going to be okay," she promises, trying to keep her voice calm. She glances toward the front, where Dean stares straight ahead, jaw clenched. The paramedic in the back whooped softly. "We've got traces of a sedative in his system." He holds up a vial of blood. Pretty strong stuff. Elise's breath catches. "Poison?" she breathes. The medic nods. "We're running panels, but it looks like a benzodiazepine." Behind them, Ada appears at the ambulance window, mouthing "I've got it" before vanishing again. Dean's expression shifts, shock, then fury. As the ambulance doors slam and the vehicle lurches forward, Elise watches Dean's face through the rear window. Rage and apprehension war within her. She knows the battle is far from over. In fact, it has only just begun. Right arrow, the paramedic leans closer and whispers, "You might want to film him talking when he's sober." Elise's mind races, how far will Dean go to keep his secrets buried? The ambulance's strobing lights paint frantic blue and red flashes across the suburban streets as they race toward General Mercy Hospital. Elise sits beside Caleb, clutching his hand, watching the paramedics practice motions: oxygen mask, blood pressure cuff, carefully labeled vials. Dean trails behind in his car, a black sedan weaving through traffic, too close for coincidence. In the back of the ambulance, the paramedic who drew blood leans in. "That cup tasted off to him, you said?" Elise nods. "All right, keep talking to him. Tell me everything you remember." Elise recounts the morning's details: 3 mugs, the switch, their laughter that masked murder. Caleb's eyes flutter. the medic checks his pupils. Everything is textbook sedation from a benzodiazepine. At the hospital, the gurney rolls through automatic doors, paramedics barking orders to the ER nurses. Elise follows, out of breath. Dean enters just behind her, collar damp with sweat, behavior alternating between grief and desperate calm. A nurse intercepts them. "Family?" she asks Dean. Without waiting for Elise's words, he steps forward. "Yes." He casts a sidelong glance at Elise and Caleb, then at the paramedics. "I'm his fiancé," he says tightly. "She's my fiancé." His choice of words feels like a claim-staking move. The nurse ushers them aside. Elise's throat tastes of copper. "He needs a toxicology panel, stat," she says, though the nurse barely glances at her. Dean intercepts, lowering his voice. "Let's just let the professionals handle it, Elise. You're upsetting him." He shoots a look at Caleb, pale and whimpering on the gurney. Elise's blood boils. "I'm family too," she asserts, voice shaking. "And he almost died because someone slipped him poison." Dean's jaw tightens. He squares his shoulders. "I'll talk to the doctors," he says, voice low. Without a word, he moves off, clearly intent on controlling the flow of information. Left alone, Elise turns to the lead paramedic. "What's next?" she asks. He shrugs. "Observation, then lab confirms, could be hours. If it's diazepam or something similar, his brain function will bounce back in 6 to 8 hours. If it's something stronger, he trails off." Elise places a hand on Caleb's arm, feeling the tremor there. She knows time is her enemy. Dean could manipulate the timeline to destroy evidence. She slips a small vial of the blood sample from one nurse's tray into her pocket, an act of desperation, but necessary. She'll get it tested independently. In the waiting room, the fluorescent lights hum overhead. Elise notices Dean seated across from her, phone pressed to his ear. The call is hushed, but from his tone, urgent, clipped, she knows he's speaking to someone with power. His brother is in danger, but Dean's priorities remain shadowed by self-interest. Elise's phone buzzes. A video uploaded. "Meet me at the cafe." She texts back, "On my way." She stands, heading for the exit, leaving Dean staring after her. In the parking lot, drizzle begins, soft patter of rain on asphalt. Elise pulls her coat tighter and steps into the night, clutching the stolen vial. She won't wait for the hospital or the police. She needs answers now. Right arrow in the rearview mirror, Dean watches her go. His lips curve into a hard smile. "Promise you'll regret this." Just past midnight, Elise unlocks her front door, rain-damp hair plastered to her forehead. In her bag is the precious vial of Caleb's blood, and on her phone, Ada's note, the hidden kitchen footage. She breathes in, steadying herself. Tonight, she will arm herself with the final pieces she needs to topple Dean's empire of lies. She slips into her makeshift home lab, an old fold-out desk in the guest room. On it, Dr. Adebayo's portable GCMS analyzer hums softly, accompanied by a sterile tray of test tubes and pipettes. Elise labels a fresh tube with Caleb's name and injects a small sample. She toggles the analyzer's touchscreen. Dialyzing sample, running spectrum, the machine whirs. Elise stares at the progress bar, each percent tick echoing like a heartbeat. Beside her, her phone lights up. "Caleb, text, thanks for saving me. I owe you." Her chest tightens. She isn't doing this for repayment, she's doing it to save countless future victims. At last, the analyzer finishes. A spectrum graph pulses on the display, with clear peaks at molecular weights matching diazepam and nordiazepam, classic benzodiazepine metabolites. Enough to sedate, enough to kill if the dosage were higher. Elise exhales, running a trembling hand through her hair. She prints the spectrum and photos the GCMS readout. Then, she pivots to Ada's video on her laptop. The footage shows Dean, in the glow of the kitchen's LED lights, methodically dripping clear liquid from a bottle labeled E into Elise's morning mug. He pauses, checks the bottle cap, then wipes the rim clean before stepping away. The camera feed cuts as Dean leans around the corner to watch Elise sip her coffee and then Caesar's collapse. Elise's stomach lurches. The combination of analytical proof and visual evidence is irrefutable. Her phone rings. Dr. Adebayo. Elise. I've reviewed the spectrum you sent. It's diazepam at 1.2 milligrams per milliliter, well above a microdose. His voice is grave. This is a textbook sedation dosage. You need to go to the authorities with this. Elise nods, though he can't see her. Thank you. I will. She pockets the test results and the flash drive holding Ada's video. Sirens wail in the distance, perhaps another emergency. She slips on her coat, heart steeled for what comes next. Tonight, she confronts Dean directly. Downstairs, faint light seeps from the living room. Dean lounges on the sofa, scrolling through his phone. His posture is casual, his expression pretends calm. Elise stands in the doorway, silhouetted by the hallway light. He looks up, eyebrows raising. Where have you been? He asks smoothly. Elise holds out the GCMS printout. Checking my gut. Her voice is calm, but her eyes blaze. She flips to Ada's video on her phone. Dean's facade falters. He stands, tension radiating off him like heat from a furnace. You're making a mistake, he warns, advancing a step. Elise holds her ground. Show this to a judge, she says. Or I go to the police myself. Her gaze locks on his. You drugged me. You drugged Caleb. You tried to kill me. For a moment, Dean's eyes flash with something fierce, anger, fear, recognition that his control is slipping. He lifts a hand as if to reach for her, but instead clenches it into a fist and turns away. Elise steps closer. It's over. She flicks off the phone's screen. Tomorrow, you'll wake up in handcuffs. Right? Dean's voice is low, barely a whisper. You think you've won? Elise watches as he stalks toward the kitchen, ignoring her. There, he picks up a small brown bottle, the same one she thought hidden. What new threat lurks in his hands? Morning breaks in pale gray light through the living room windows. Dean is gone, and with him, the house is unnervingly quiet. Elise wakes to the hum of her phone's alarm 30 minutes until Caleb's checkup. She dresses and brews a fresh cup in her own safe machine, savoring the untainted aroma. But peace is elusive. Last night's confrontation echoes in her mind. On her laptop, she opens her browser and searches for Dean's ex-fiancé. The news articles appear in a flurry. 2 years ago, a young woman named Margot Reynolds died after a fall from the balcony of Dean's penthouse. Police ruled it an accident. Toxicology was inconclusive. Elise's fingers hover over the keyboard before clicking through archived articles. An image of Margot in a bridal veil stares back at her, smiling, radiant, oblivious to doom. She reads on. Neighbors reported hearing a scuffle before her fall. No foul play was declared. Family declined further investigation. Elise's blood runs cold. She loads Dean's old journal, obtained during a legal purge when she was cleaning out his home office in search of evidence. Thumbed to the leather-bound cover, she flips through pages scrawled with cryptic notes. Amid prescription schedules and 1 milligram, she finds a slip of loose paper. M.R. Night dosage 2 milligrams. Fall opportune. Her heart stutters. The implication is monstrous. Dean planned Margot's death, disguised as an accident. She presses further, scanning until she finds Margot's name written in tidy script on a blank margin. A notification pings, Caleb texting thanks for everything. I'm okay. Elise allows herself a short, grim smile. Caleb is safe, but the horrors of the past remain buried but not dead. She picks up her phone and calls Marcus Reynolds, Margot's brother, whose social media glow with memorial posts. He answers on the second ring. Hello? Mr. Reynolds, Elise says gently. I'm Elise Turner, Caleb's sister. We have evidence that might shed new light on Margot's death. Silence, then a catch in his voice. You think it wasn't an accident? I know it wasn't, she replies. Dean drugged her. I have his journal entries. I can prove it. She hears a sound, a gasp, or sob, on the other end. Marcus says, we tried to fight for justice, but I'm ready. Please, he whispers, let's expose him. Elise's pulse quickens, a fierce determination igniting. The final piece of the puzzle falls into place: Margot's death, her forced accident, the same poison bottle. Dean's pattern of violence is clear, but now she has the weapons to dismantle his lies completely. She ends the call and closes her laptop. The late afternoon sun slants through the window, illuminating specks of dust dancing in the kitchen. Elise stands in the quiet house that was once her sanctuary, now the epicenter of betrayal. She breathes deeply. Tonight, she will summon Marcus, Caleb, and Ada, and set the wheels of justice in motion. Right arrow. Elise's phone vibrates with an unknown number. She answers. A distorted voice whispers, you should have never dug so deep. The call ends before she can reply. Who's threatening her now, and can she stay one step ahead? Late that night, Elise slips into Dean's study with a deliberate quiet she's practiced over sleepless weeks. Moonlight filters through the tall windows, casting silver beams across the leather-bound spine of his journal perched atop the mahogany desk. She holds her breath, listening for creaks in the floorboards, knowing any sound could betray her and jeopardize everything. Her fingers tremble as she lifts the cover. The pages are dense with neat cursive legal notes, pressure points for arguments, and, disturbingly, entries that read more like a madman's ledger than a fiancé's diary. She flips to a page dated 2 nights before their wedding anniversary. Tested dose on sister, 1.2 milligrams, reaction mild grogginess, slightly disoriented. Increased to 1.5. Elise's heart hammers. Sister, she whispers. Her mind flashes to Caleb's collapse over breakfast. These are Dean's own words. She scans further, uncovering entries from months past. MR 2.0 milligrams at midnight. Balcony plan at 3 a.m. Confirmed. Nearly perfect compliance. Next phase: domestic trial. Margot Reynolds. Elise feels bile rise in her throat. Dean planned Margot's death, and logged it with the same precision he once reserved for legal briefs. A soft creak behind her jolts Elise upright. She snaps the journal shut, heart lodged in her throat. But whoever is there doesn't enter. Exhaling, she tucks the journal under her arm and retreats down the hall. In her apartment, under the harsh glow of her desk lamp, Elise lays the journal open. Across the pages, red circles and margin notes scrawly, MR, trial, compliance. She photographs each incriminating line. Her phone buzzes. Ada, how did it go? Elise types back, got it. Worse than we thought. Seconds later, Dean's name flashes on her screen. Her stomach clenches. She ignores the call. No alibis, no gaslighting, she refuses to engage. Instead, she calls Marcus Reynolds, Margot's brother. Marcus, she begins, voice low. I have Dean's journal. It confirms he dosed Margot, and that balcony accident was planned. Silence. Then, thank you. I thought I'd imagined things. His relief is palpable. Where are you now? Embedding a backup copy into the cloud. Ada's on it. It's secure. She describes her makeshift Wi-Fi hotspot and file encryption. Once I'm ready, we go public. Be careful, Marcus warns. He's dangerous. Elise nods, forgetting he can't see her. I know. But he underestimated me. She ends the call and compresses the photos into a password-protected folder, uploading them to a secure drive. Each click echoes like a ticking clock. Time is running out. Later, she texts Ada journal evidence uploaded. Next camera. Her fingers hover over the screen, hesitating. Confrontation looms, and with it, the greatest risk. But she steels herself. Dean's journal holds the truth of 2 attempted murders and a wife nearly lost. Now, she will show the world. Right arrow, a notification flashes on her laptop, new email, unknown sender. She opens it. Subject line, we know what you did. The message body is blank. No name, no signature, only this threat. Who's watching her next? The next evening, Elise meets Ada in the deserted back room of their favorite cafe. Over the hum of the espresso machine beyond the double doors, they spread tools across a chipped Formica table, a mini GoPro, double-sided tape, a micro SD card, and a portable battery pack. Are you sure you want to do this here? Ada whispers, glancing around at the empty chairs and low-light fixtures. Elise nods. Dean never comes to this cafe. He thinks cafes are cliché. She uncaps the camera. We need footage of him dosing, without suspicion. Ada loads the SD card. Timing is everything. We'll install it tonight, in the kitchen, when he's at his weekly poker game. Elise's pulse accelerates. Dean's poker group meets every Thursday at a members-only club downtown. They play high stakes, followed by drinks. That's when he'll be gone. Elise and Ada will have nearly an hour of privacy. At home, the house is silent. The overhead lights flicker as wind rattles the windows. Elise edges into the kitchen, careful to avoid the sensor lights. She peels the tape backing and fastens the GoPro beneath the cabinet shelf, above the area where Dean sets his morning yogurt and coffee. She positions it with surgical precision, hidden by a shadow, aimed directly at the counter. Ada crouches on the floor, adjusting the angle. Got a clear view of the mugs? Pour over station? She asks. Elise peers from across the room, confirming each placement with a nod. A creak on the stairs, Dean's early return from poker. Ada swears under her breath. Elise gestures frantically, go hide. Ada slips behind the kitchen island as Dean's footsteps echo above. Elise moves into the living room to greet him, feigning surprise. Dean breezes downstairs, poker chips jingling in his coat pocket. Game ended early, he says, scanning the room. Where's my coffee? Elise, he says softly, stepping closer. You know I get cranky without it. His eyes narrow slightly, as if sensing something amiss. She meets his gaze, palms flat on the coffee table. Of course. I left beans in the grinder. She rises, extending a reassuring hand. Want me to make it? He hesitates, then places his jacket on the sofa. Go ahead. Her heart hammers as she steps into the kitchen, directly under the GoPro. She scoops fresh grounds, measures decaf for her own cup, and then reaches for the tainted bottle hidden behind the spice rack. Her fingers brush the glass, cold and menacing. She pauses, then swaps her water bottle for the sealed decaf container she brought upstairs earlier. Dean's reaction will be captured. She pours dark liquid into 2 mugs, one for Dean, one for herself. Behind her, the lens whirs quietly, recording. Every drop, every hesitation. Here you go, she says, sliding his mug across the counter. Dean picks it up, inhales the aroma, frowns. This smells off. Elise dips a finger into her own cup. Just a darker roast. She brushes past him, moving to the living room. Ada reemerges, phone in hand, whispering, got it. Dean follows, mug in hand. Elise watches him as he takes a careful sip. No tremor in his hand. The footage will reveal the truth. She closes her eyes and breathes out. Right arrow, Dean's phone dings, a group text from poker buddies. Lost big? Talk tonight? He glances at Elise, suspicion flickering in his eyes. Did he notice the camera? Back at Elise's apartment, her sanctuary turned command center, she and Ada huddle around a laptop. Dark outside, coffee cups slosh with anxious energy. Ada inserts the micro SD card. The GoPro interface appears. Ready, she whispers, fingers trembling. Elise nods, throat tight. Hit play. On screen, grainy but clear, is the kitchen. Elise under the cabinet shelf, unaware of the lens overhead. Dean enters, swinging his gym bag to the floor. He hums a tune, carefree, oblivious. He opens the spice rack, retrieving the small brown bottle labeled E. His hand is steady. He pours clear liquid into Elise's mug, then wipes the rim. He checks the other mug, her decaf, and shakes his head before moving to the sink. He washes his hands, oblivious to the camera's angle, then returns for his own mug. But before he lifts it, he pauses, eyes narrowing as if recalling something, or feeling a twinge of guilt. Ada rewinds and zooms on the bottle. There it is. Full dose. She clicks export. Elise's pulse races. Send it to Marcus, and the detective, she says, voice hushed. And to Caleb. She types quickly, her fingers blurring. Subject: evidence of attempted murder. She stands, pacing. Once they see this, the police can't ignore it. Ada nods. But what about him? What if he figures out you set the camera? Elise halts. Then he'll destroy it, and me. She shivers. We need a failsafe. Ada taps her temple. Backup: I have it on 2 cloud accounts, plus encrypted on an external drive at my place. She holds up a key-sized USB. Even if he wipes everything here, we're safe. Relief and fear mingle in Elise's veins. She clutches the USB as if it's a lifeline. Okay, she exhales. Now what? Ada glances at the clock. You called the detective yesterday? Elise nods. He said he'd wait for official evidence. She presses the remote for the laptop's volume. A voicemail plays. Detective Ortiz. Ms. Turner, this is Detective Ortiz. I've reviewed your statement and need that footage. Meet me tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the precinct. Bring any other proof. Elise exhales, tension easing. Tomorrow, she repeats. Tomorrow she'll deliver the kill shot. Right arrow. The laptop screen flickers, an incoming video call from an unknown number. She clicks answer. The feed is dark. A distorted voice whispers, stop now, or else. And the feed cuts out. At 9:30 a.m. the following morning, Elise steps onto the precinct steps, briefcase in hand, leather shoes clicking on concrete. The sky is overcast, an omen, she thinks, as she breathes deeply and straightens her blazer. Inside, Detective Ortiz greets her with a nod and a grim expression. Ms. Turner. He leads her to a windowless interview room. Crisp fluorescent lighting and the hum of ceiling fans set a sterile stage. On the table sit 3 items: Dean's journal excerpts, the GCMS report, and a laptop. Elise places her briefcase on the table. I have more. She opens it to reveal the USB drive and her phone. Ortiz raises an eyebrow. You're thorough. She plugs in the USB. The screen loads the video. Dean's figure appears, dropping poison into her mug. Ortiz leans forward, eyes narrowing. Holy. This is pretty damning. Elise watches his reaction, heart pounding. There's also audio from his phone, she continues, extracting a second USB. Proof of calls arranging details for Margot Reynolds' accident. Ortiz's expression hardens. Looks like we have a lot to investigate. He stands, his chair scraping. I'll file a warrant for Dean's arrest on attempted murder and reopening Margot's case. Elise exhales, relief flooding her. Just then, the door opens. Dean strides in, hands cuffed behind his back, police officers flanking him. His eyes lock on Elise, a storm of rage and triumph colliding. He stops 3 feet from her, chest heaving. Elise's pulse races. "Dean," she says softly. He sneers. "You think you've won?" His voice echoes off painted walls. "You're nothing without me." Ortiz motions for silence. "Mr. Pierce, you have the right to remain silent." Dean's gaze flicks to the laptop. "That video, totally fabricated," he protests. "She's mentally unstable, making false accusations." Elise meets his gaze steadily. "You forget the journal," she says, sliding the pages toward Ortiz. "Your own handwriting." Dean's face blanches. He opens his mouth, but no words come. Detective Ortiz picks up the journal. Dean's voice drops to a hiss. "Elise, you're a monster." She straightens. "No. I'm just a survivor." Ortiz cuffs Dean. As officers lead him away, he glances back at Elise, wounded, furious, defeated. His last word, barely audible, "This isn't over." Elise closes her eyes. It feels like victory, and like the first step in a longer fight. Right arrow as Dean vanishes down the corridor, Elise's phone buzzes. A text from Caleb: "Mom's missing. She went to Dean's place looking for you." Panic surges, Elise races from the precinct into a stormy afternoon. Rain hammers the pavement as Elise pulls her coat tighter, dialing Caleb's number. Thunder rumbles overhead. "Caleb, where are you?" I'm at Mom's house," his voice is distant. "She's gone to Dean's old apartment looking for you." Elise's heart lurches. "Stay there. I'll meet you." She sprints to Caleb's car, hops into the passenger seat. He's pale, eyes hollow, rain dripping from his hair. "What happened?" she asks, pulling the door closed. "I showed Mom the footage," he says, voice shaking. She wanted to see for herself. She called Dean's number, and it went straight to voicemail. So she went to confront him. And now she's missing. Elise's blood runs cold. "Drive me there." She leans forward, phone ready. "I'll call Marcus. He can alert his contacts." Minutes later, they arrive at Dean's former penthouse building, a luxury high-rise polished to a mirror sheen. The doorman looks wary as they approach. "Can I help you?" he asks, umbrella tilted against the rain. "My mother," Caleb says, voice brittle. "She was here earlier." The doorman's expression shifts. "Your mother?" "Ms. Turner wasn't supposed to come back here." Elise's stomach knots. They rush past the security desk, elevator doors sliding open. No one inside. They ascend to the apartment floor. The hallway is empty, except for Mom's scarf, draped over a railing. Elise darts down the corridor. The apartment door hangs ajar. She pushes it open. Inside, the chandeliers sway. Furniture is turned over. A single high-heeled shoe lies near the shattered front window. Rainwater puddles on the hardwood floor. "Mom?" Elise calls, voice cracking. She steps past glass shards. On the kitchen table, a fresh cup of coffee, steam curling upward. And beside it, Mom's journal, open to a page reading. "I will find Elise. I'll ask him the truth." Elise's vision narrows. She reaches for the cup, her hands shaking. Dark liquid swirls inside. A click behind her. She spins, heart pounding, and comes face to face with Dean, his hair dripping, eyes wild. He smiles, sadistic. "You brought her into this story, didn't you? Your precious mother." His hand clutches something behind his back. Caleb bursts in behind her. "Dad, no!" he shouts. Dean steps forward, revealing the brown bottle, labeled M. The night's tension crackles in the air. Right arrow as thunder rattles the window panes, Dean raises the bottle. Elise screams. The screen cuts to black. Rain lashes the city as Elise bursts through the threshold of Dean's penthouse, Caleb close behind. The opulent foyer, once a symbol of the life she built with Dean, now feels like a gilded cage. Across the room, her mother's trembling form huddles behind an overturned armchair, eyes wide with terror. Dean stands between them, bottle in hand, soaked rainwater dripping from his hair. His lips curl into a twisted smile as lightning flashes outside. "Elise," he rasps, voice low and venomous. "You brought witnesses to my home. How quaint." She hears her heart pounding like war drums. "Let her go," she demands, voice steady despite the fear. "You can't hurt her." Caleb strides forward. "Back off, Dean." His tone is firmer than Elise has ever heard. He yanks at Dean's arm. Startled, Dean staggers, almost dropping the bottle. In that moment, Elise lunges for her mother, arms slipping around her waist. "It's okay, Mom. I've got you." Dean recovers and shoves Caleb aside. He raises the bottle again, laced with enough benzodiazepine to sedate an elephant. "Stay back," he snarls. "Or she drinks with me." Elise studies her mother, her mind racing. She glances around a heavy marble statue of a Greek god, the glass coffee table, even the ornate candelabra, anything could be a weapon. She catches Ada's text, "Police are 5 minutes out." Relief kindles in her chest. They have backup. "Drop it, Dean," she says slowly, inching forward. "It's over. You've lost." His eyes flash. He raises the bottle above his head, ready to strike. Caleb leaps, tackling him to the floor. The bottle shatters against the marble pedestal, spraying liquid across the carpet. Dean roars, flailing, his body slipping in the slick pool of poison. He lashes out, but Caleb restrains him, pinning his arms. Elise helps her mother to her feet. Tears stain her cheeks, but her voice is calm as she guides her out of harm's way. "Come on, Mom. We're safe now." Sirens wail in the distance, growing louder. Dean struggles, managing a crooked laugh of pure malice. "You can't stop me," he hisses at Elise. "You'll." A squad car screeches to a halt outside. Police storm the entrance, weapons drawn. Dean freezes, then stops resisting. 2 officers cuff his wrists and haul him up. He glares at Elise, eyes blazing with furious defeat. Elise stands in the foyer with Caleb and her mother, rainwater dripping from her hair, heart still hammering. Her mother wraps her arms around her. "Thank you," she whispers. "I was so scared." Elise holds her tight. "I'm here. It's over." She watches the officers lead Dean away through the rain-slicked lobby. As Dean disappears into the night, she breathes out, every muscle trembling. She knows the fight isn't quite finished, his trial looms, and the shadows of the past still whisper, but for the first time, she feels the stirrings of true freedom. The next morning, Elise sits at the head of a long conference table in a small private room at the precinct. Caleb and her mother flank her on one side, Detective Ortiz, notebook in hand, on the other. The air is thick with anticipation and the lingering scent of coffee. On the table lies Margot Reynolds' file, photos, autopsy reports, and Dean's own journal entries. "I called her sister," Elise says, voice quiet but unwavering. "Lily Reynolds agreed to meet with us." Minutes later, Lily slips into the room. She's younger than Elise expected, pale, tense, eyes haunted by loss. She clutches a leather satchel as though it's her only shield. Elise stands and offers her a warm smile. "Lily, thank you for coming," she says gently. "I know this is difficult." Lily speaks in a soft, tremulous voice. "Ever since Margot died, I've had questions." The police closed the case as an accident, but her friend said she was lucid when she left that party. No one ever asked why she looked so terrified. Detective Ortiz nods, flipping through the journal excerpts. Ms. Turner provided these entries, written in Dean's hand, confirming he administered sedatives. We need your testimony to reopen the investigation. Lily's jaw tightens. She slides photos from her satchel onto the table. Margot at the resort, smiling but shadowed, and a final photo of her clutching a glass of wine, eyes wide. She said she felt sick. She told me she thought someone was poisoning her drink. Elise leans forward. Margot mentioned dosage tests, right? He experimented on her, made her dependent, then staged her disappearance. Tears glisten in Lily's eyes. She confided in me 2 days before it happened. I told her to leave him, to go to the police. She said she was scared. The next morning, she was gone. Caleb reaches out, clasping Lily's hand. Lily, your sister's courage helped us bring a monster down. She'll have justice. Lily exhales, relief and sorrow mingling. She signs a sworn affidavit, reading from prepared testimony that details Margot's fear, the dosage jottings in Dean's journal, and her own attempts to protect her sister. Detective Ortiz closes his notebook. With this testimony, we'll issue a warrant for homicide charges related to Margot's death and file attempted murder against Ms. Turner and Mr. Caldwell. He meets Lily's eyes with steely resolve. Thank you, Ms. Reynolds. Your bravery is commendable. Lily stands, exhaustion etched on her face. Thank you, Elise. Margot can rest now. As she leaves, Elise exhales deeply. The weight of guilt lifts slightly knowing Margot's story will finally be told. Caleb and her mother lean in. Elise, her mother whispers, you saved us all. Elise nods, voice thick. This is for every victim who couldn't fight back. Outside, flashing cameras catch Detective Ortiz briefing reporters. The headline scrolls across TV screens: Fiancée'S fiancé charged in murder of ex and attempted murder of fiancé's family. Justice is on the horizon. Under the harsh glare of fluorescent lights, Detective Ortiz convenes a strategy meeting in the precinct's briefing room. Elise, Caleb, and her mother sit around a metal table littered with manila folders, wiretap devices, and police radios. The room hums with quiet urgency. Dean Pierce has retained top defense attorneys, Ortiz begins, voice low. They'll fight everything. We need incontrovertible evidence, audio proof of him attempting another poisoning. That's our ace. Elise taps her fingers on the table. He's dangerous when cornered. He'll try something desperate. Ortiz nods. Exactly. He's allowed visitation with you under supervised conditions. We'll use that. On Thursday, you'll meet him at the old cafe where we first plotted the GoPro. We'll equip you with a hidden mic, and I'll have officers in plain clothes scattered around. Caleb frowns. Isn't that risky? He nearly killed Mom. Ortiz meets his gaze. We'll have 3 backup units on site. Our priority is your safety, but we need him talking about his methods, admitting guilt. Once we record that, the case is airtight. Elise exhales. She glances at her mother, who squeezes her hand. I'll do it, she says. He won't hurt anyone else. Ortiz slides a small transmitter across the table. This will stick to your collar. Your phone will relay the audio to headquarters. Test it now. Elise fastens the mic to her lapel, careful to conceal it under her blouse. Ortiz tunes the radio. They run a quick test. Ortiz's voice crackles in her earpiece. Elise, can you hear me? Loud and clear. She nods, though he can't see. Perfect. Caleb leans forward. What's the plan if he gets violent? Ortiz's expression darkens. You keep calm. If he physically attacks, signal with one hand over your chest. Backup will move in. Elise's stomach knots, but determination steals her. I just need him to slip. One slip up, one confession. Ortiz studies her. You're brave. But careful. We do this at 11 o'clock a.m., during cafe's off hours. The staff is in, but the clientele will be sparse. We'll have the place swept for bugs and cameras replaced. Her mother wipes a tear. Promise me you'll stay safe. Elise reaches across and grasps her hand. I promise. Ortiz stands. Then we move Thursday morning. Get some rest. As Elise gathers the equipment, her reflection catches in the window a determined face framed by hope and fear. She breathes deeply, picturing Dean, the man she once loved, now a petrified fraud. Outside, the precinct door swings shut. Ahead lies the Crucible one final setup to expose him once and for all. Thursday morning dawns crisp and clear, a stark contrast to the stormy weeks before. Elise steps into the quiet cafe, the scent of fresh pastries and espresso welcoming her. She wears a tailored navy blouse, hair pulled into a sleek ponytail, poised disguised anxiety. Detective Ortiz, in plain clothes, gives her a thumbs up from behind the counter. Caleb and her mother sit at a corner table, eyes alert. Moments later, Dean appears in the doorway, impeccably dressed in a gray suit that echoes their wedding day. His eyes light up when he sees Elise. He strides over, smiles sincere. Thank you for meeting me, he says, seating himself across from her. Elise forces a smile. I wanted to talk, face to face. She motions to the waiter 2 coffees, black. As the barista pours, Elise's heart hammers. Under the table, her fingers brush the hidden mic clip to her blouse. Dean's gaze is intense. I'm sorry for everything. I was under so much stress, I never meant to hurt you. Elise nods, voice soft. I know you loved me once. Her words feel like a knife. But love doesn't justify what you did. Dean's face blanches. He opens his mouth, but the barista sets down 2 cups, steam curling upward. Dean reaches for his. Elise watches closely. The cup's rim is clean, untainted. He lifts it to his lips, inhales. Then he freezes, brow furrowing. Elise raises her own cup, feigning curiosity. Is it? Before she finishes, 2 officers step out from behind a shuttered partition. Detective Ortiz stands next to them. Dean Pierce, Ortiz's voice booms. You're under arrest for 2 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of second-degree murder, and conspiracy. Dean's eyes widen. He drops the cup. Coffee splashes across the table, hot and sudden. He stares at Ortiz, disbelief rippling across his features. What? How? Elise meets his gaze, cold resolve shining in her eyes. I recorded every word, she says. I saved my family. And I gave the first victim's sister a voice. Dean's mouth works without sound. He stands, arms flailing. This is, you set me up. Ortiz nods to the officers. They move in, each cuffing one of Dean's wrists. He glances at Elise, pain, rage, betrayal flickering in his eyes. She swallows past the lump in her throat. The cafe's hush is electric, all eyes on them. As the officers lead Dean toward the exit, he lunges forward, voice cracking. You think you're safe now? But an officer clamps a hand on his shoulder. He's escorted out, head down, his final scream echoing. Elise exhales, trembling but triumphant. Caleb and her mother rise, rushing to her side. Ortiz offers a respectful nod. Well done. Elise's legs buckle, Caleb catches her. She pours herself a fresh cup, black. She lifts it in silent toast. Here's to closure, she whispers. And new beginnings. Sunlight pours through the windows of Elise's new apartment, a modest loft filled with warm hues and the aroma of cinnamon. It's been 6 weeks since Dean's arrest. Elise stands at the kitchen island, steam rising from a ceramic mug. She inhales deeply, savoring the simple comfort of untainted coffee. Across from her, Caleb sips from his own cup, forest green eyes bright. Her mother arranges fresh flowers in a vase, humming softly. The tension that once shadowed their lives has lifted, replaced by quiet hope. Elise turns, a soft smile lighting her face. I never thought I'd feel peace again. Her mother places a hand on her shoulder. You fought for it, darling. Caleb raises his mug. To you, our hero. She clinks cups with them. To new beginnings. Later, Elise settles at her laptop, drafting an op-ed for a women's magazine about empowerment, survival, and the importance of listening to one's instincts. A notification pings her story has gone viral. Messages of support flood in from survivors around the globe. She closes the laptop, placing it aside. In her hands, the mug, her morning ritual, once so perilous, now utterly safe. She drinks deeply, the warmth coursing through her. A gentle chime at the doorstop draws her attention. Ada enters, carrying pastries. Thought you deserved a treat. They laugh, and Elise pours her friend a cup. They sit together at the island, talking about the next chapter. Elise's legal career is surging, Caleb is applying to business school, and her mother volunteers at a domestic violence shelter. Elise's phone buzzes with a text from Detective Ortiz. Great work today. Case closed. Proud of you. She types back a simple thank you. As dusk falls, the three women head to the balcony, mugs in hand, watching city lights bloom in the distance. Elise raises her cup one last time. No more poison, she declares, voice steady. Her mother and Caleb echo, no more poison. Elise smiles, eyes shining. This time, I know exactly what's in it. She takes a long, unafraid sip, and with it, the sweet taste of freedom. The end.